pockets of resistance all around the planet. We've been fighting a long time. If you're listening to this, you are not alone. You are the resistance.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the twilight zone.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers, who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their lawmaking power. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. Writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy. Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy. Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, "We are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy." John Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, "Democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel." America was founded not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. We pledge allegiance to the republic, for which our flag stands, not to a democracy. The Constitution requires a republican form of government for all states, but does not mention democracy, and neither does the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights. Someone asked him what kind of government the convention had given America, and Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Very old and very wise, Franklin saw through the mists of time to the day when Americans might trade their freedom in a constitutional republic for the promise of government guaranteed equality and security in a democracy. And beyond that, to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules.
What's up, family? What is going on, man? So I know everybody like, yo, where the hell has Net been? Man, I've been dealing with so much, man, that I haven't really been able to get out here as much as I wanted to with you guys. But I did do a couple videos recently, man. I was monetized for like a day or two, and then they demonetized me because y'all know that we talk about stuff that ain't to be talked about. All right, but I do feel like that stuff has changed. I feel like we in a good position, man, with some of the stuff that's going on, man. Of course, you got the inauguration that popped off today, which is great. Stuff Trump is talking about is great, man. Anybody that don't see it that way, that's because they oblivious to what's been going on in this world. They don't understand the powers that be. They don't understand the elite. They don't understand none of that stuff, man. So I put that piece on the beginning of this video about democracy. People have a misconception about what democracy is. They don't even know what democracy is because they've been played so long that they can't even understand that we ain't even been in a democracy. This really a dictatorship that's been going on. They throw you the candidates, the options that you have. That's why they didn't like Trump, because he came and he wasn't part of the selective. He wasn't a part of the group that was already there for you to select from. He became his own entity in his own right. You see, that's why they didn't like him. That's why they didn't mess with him. That's why they tried to pin everybody against him. That's what they have done with the orange man and all this stuff. And oh, he's a racist.
Democrat policies have become so radical and appeal to so few normal people that it's almost as though they gave up on winning the popular vote years ago. And yet, this current generation of Democrats haven't been wiped off the electoral map and consigned to the dustbin of history where they belong. So what's going on here? Do you remember the time that Hillary Clinton introduced her friend George Soros and his interest in getting involved in US elections? That's right, not US politics, but US elections. The Democrats and their masters, the globalist elites, don't want you to see this video. They have wiped it from the face of the earth for the most part. Luckily, it was saved by a patriot who understood that one day it would be very important to expose the globalist elite's plan.
You know, it is not enough for America's future that some participate and others don't. We have been given an extraordinary blessing, and at this moment in time, our country needs us, and we need people like George Soros, who is fearless and willing to step up when it counts. So please join me in welcoming George Soros.
It is the first time that I feel that I need to stand up and do something really and become really engaged in the electoral process in this country.
Damning stuff, but it gets even worse. Obama is up to his neck in this as well, and he's even more shameless than Hillary when it comes to justifying cheating. To the Democrats and the mainstream media, voter fraud does not exist, regardless of the emergence of statistically impossible voting patterns in key seats that always end up going the way of the Democrats. While Democrats continue claiming there is no issue with voter fraud in the US, and election results continue getting stranger and stranger, it's worth taking a look at what Obama said in 2008, before he was elected president.
Well, I tell you what, it helps in Ohio that we got Democrats in charge of the machines.
But the stunning footage doesn't stop there. The then Illinois US Senator continued by claiming that Republicans have monkeyed around with elections in the past, before admitting that sometimes Democrats have too. Which is very strange, because Democrats in 2023 claim that there's no such thing as voter fraud.
But look, I come from Chicago, so I want to be honest. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too. You know, whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction.
You know what they say about the devil? The greatest trick he ever pulled was convincing the world that he doesn't exist. Is convincing the nation that voter fraud does not exist the greatest trick ever pulled by the Democrats? You heard it straight out of the horse's mouth. Whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try, to tilt things in their direction. Perhaps that explains why every close race that requires days and weeks to count falls to the Democrats, despite statistically bizarre anomalies. Pointing out the hypocrisy of the left never seems to make a dent or have any impact on them whatsoever. Why? Because they have no shame. And they have no shame because they have no moral compass. And they have no moral compass because they live according to the rule of the ends justify the means. This precept infests every fibre of their ideology, from elections to open borders to climate change, abortion, you name it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has thrown his hat into the ring to challenge Biden for the Democratic nomination for 2024, and he has wasted no time in getting down to business. According to Kennedy, the New World Order has already begun the process of rigging the 2024 election to ensure Joe Biden wins by hook or by crook. Kennedy Jr. appeared on SiriusXM on Monday and dropped a series of truth bombs about the undemocratic system the Democrats use in their primary elections to ensure the establishment candidate is nominated against the will of the people. Don't forget, this is the party whose lawyers openly stated that if the party wants to pick a nominee over cigars in back rooms and ignore the votes in the primary elections, it's within their legal rights to do so. No wonder Biden said that the Democrats have put together the most extensive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Guys, I'm going to say this, okay? So I came back on to finish up some of this video because of some information that was left out. Anybody that has a problem with Trump and what he's doing right now, go jump your ass off a bridge. Go jump you off your bridge because you don't have no brains. No brain. I got people, listen, people in my comments, in the chat talking about, oh, Trump's going to do this, Trump's going to do that. I don't want to hear about what he's going to do. Stop telling me what he's going to do and talk about what the hell the man is doing. All right? And if you need an update on what the man is doing, let me remind you. Because some of y'all so asleep, man, you don't know. You ain't watching my videos. If you ain't watching my videos, watch my videos, okay? And I'm not trying to come in nobody's neck or nothing like that, but I want you to stop talking about stuff about what his plan, what he's gonna do based off of what the media then told you and the stuff that you regurgitating from them. All right? Talk about what the man doing and what you know from the videos that I've shown you, the information. All right? Now, let's go down the list real quick. I'm gonna just break it down real quick. So, he's already appointed Kash Patel, the leader of the FBI. That's huge, man. Y'all know how corrupt the FBI been? You know how corrupt they? That's the reason folks like Diddy and Epstein got away with what the crap they was doing, right? But now that's been handled and dealt with. Folks in the FBI scared because they know these folks is gonna take care of business. This is why folks is trying to lead a country and stuff, man. You don't appoint people like that that's gonna go at people's necks, man. If you're part of the two wings of the same bird. It's not two wings of the same bird. That's why I named this video a different bird. Trump, a totally different bird. Because he is. This is why people is running for the hills and doing. Listen, that's one thing. The FBI, that's stuff gonna get corrected. All the Department of Justice is gonna be next. They're gonna deal with that too. All right, mark my words. Don't tell me about what he's gonna do. Let's talk about what he's doing. Miss me with that. Oh, Trump's gonna do this. Oh, he's gonna put people back in slavery, and Trump is gonna ruin. Oh God, we need to move out the country because what happened the last time? Y'all talk all this mess about what he gonna do and all this bad stuff happened. What happened last time that was bad? People talking, oh, we finna be in the worst situation ever. How we gonna be in the worst? We just coming out of the worst situation ever. We in a freaking recession. Just because the media ain't tell y'all dumbasses that, you don't know it? We been in a freaking recession. You don't know what that is? You don't know what it look like? Look at the housing market. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. Look at the job market. Look at the price of groceries and gas. Like, come on, man. Like, some of y'all have to be told and spoon-fed information to understand what the hell's going on out here. And that's not what's happening, man. That's just one thing. Like I said, Kash Patel on the FBI. Boom. That shake things up. Going in Mel Gibson. That's in the video. Mel Gibson, like, Passion of Christ. God is talking like he's on a righteous path. He knows about the sinister satanic stuff that's going on in Hollywood. So you appoint him over that, so you can clean that crap up. That's big. You got RFK Jr. RFK Jr., the nephew of John F. Kennedy. One of the biggest conspiracy theorists of all time. Right? He was telling about the plan to depopulate and all that kind of stuff. And they've been using water and stuff and medicine, all this kind of crap. And so now you got Robert Kennedy Jr. in there taking care of that. So they getting the fluoride, they gonna get the fluoride out, man. They dealing with the food. They dealing with the water, the medicine, like all of that's being dealt with. Hold on, man. I think this wind might be getting us. All right, so aside from that, all right, we talking about, and it's ironic you got these Hollywood fires going on at the same time, right? We clean up Hollywood, we drain the swamp, but
what is this? Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. Pretty sad though, think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Mr. President, you spoke about inflation today in your remarks.
The tariffs, like, what do you mean when you say that European Union countries like make this part of BRICS?
That are what?
BRICS.
Oh, BRICS. No, I was talking about BRICS. BRICS is 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. and they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, they won't be happy about what's going to happen to them.
Are you still considering a universal tariff, Mr. President, on all countries?
I may, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. We may put it.
I said, yeah, guys. So you clean up Hollywood and you drain the swamp. All right, these are things that they didn't want Trump to do. This is why folks run. This is why people are like, I'm leaving the country, this, that, and other, because Trump's in office. Yeah, because you got some dirty stuff. You got some skeletons in the closet that probably need to be dealt with. That's what's happening. So aside from that, man, just like stuff happening on, I told y'all about the World Health Organization. I told y'all about that. The WHO, how they was trying to go in people's homes and take people out. They was trying to get our sovereignty. They had Biden set up. Listen, they had Biden set up to hand them over all our constitutional rights under any other pandemic that happens in the future. Anything. Talking about they come up the monkeypox, which they already got it. They already got everything set up, man, because they got people plugged with this stuff. So now they can cause a pandemic whenever they want. And all they got to do is say, oh, it's a pandemic. Then they hand it over to the World Health Organization. Guess what they doing? They going up in your house, they snatching your kids. Concentration camps open, we going all out. You see what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that they put in position. All right? This is why you had to get rid of that administration. People talking about all this stuff with Trump. Look, the TikTok. That administration, Biden-Harris administration, wanted TikTok banned. Why? Because people was getting information like this. Getting information, knowing what's going on. They couldn't control it. See, they control people with the television. That's why they want you watching television. Now that people don't watch television much, CNN ain't got the viewership that they used to have. So they got to go to the platforms where you at. This is why they had Mark Zuckerberg hemmed up. And you gonna see on her what Mark Zuckerberg talking about. How they had him, though. They forced him to do stuff, but it's basically these fact checkers and stuff, the liars. Like, remember, FBI was behind Hillary. They helping her get rid of she acid washed the emails and the servers and all that. She hid the emails, she destroyed them, all that, the Gazi stuff, all that. But she cool. Ain't nobody touching her. She had the FBI in her hip pocket. Diddy had the FBI in his hip pocket. Tupac running from the FBI. They after him. You see what I'm saying? These the bad guys had protection. They had protection. Like look at now, like Trump coming in, he pardoning the January 6th people, because the January 6th stuff was a psyop. They straight did they did all the crap, man. It was them that caused all the problems at January 6th. They was the influencers. They was the ones that was facilitating that whole situation. They orchestrated the uprising. Then they make it seem like it was the conservatives, the Trump, the MAGA. Like, no. And then they had the FBI up there doing it. You see what I'm saying? Like, man, hold on.
Agreed with my travel ban at the time I did it, and they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things, and they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to. They seemed to be very China-centric, and we have to look into that. So we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they get, and it's much more than the $58 million is a small portion of what they've gotten over the years. Sometimes they get much more than that. Sometimes it's for programs that they're doing, and it's much bigger numbers. And if the programs are good, that's great as far as we're concerned. But we want to look into it. World Health Organization, because they really are. They called it wrong. They called it wrong. They missed the call. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known, and they should have known, and they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully, and we're going to put a hold on money spent to the WHO. We're going to put a very powerful hold on it, and we're going to see. It's a great thing if it works, but when they call every shot wrong, that's no good.
So is it time to freeze funding to the WHO during a pandemic?
Trump and his smart, because he's not in this alone. Remember, there's 200 people that are behind him.
No, maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but we're going to look at it.
You did say that.
We give a tremendous, no, I didn't. I said we're going to look at it. We're going to investigate it. We're going to look at it. But we will look at ending funding. Yeah. Because you know what? They called it wrong. And if you look back over the years even, they're very much, everything seems to be very biased toward China. That's not right.
As if we needed any more proof that the World Health Organization has debased itself and its mission statement and devolved into nothing more than a puppet of the brutal, oppressive Chinese Communist Party, listen to this. The World Health Organization oddly fails to mention that one of the 9 goodwill ambassadors listed on the WHO website is Peng Liyuan. Now, you may not be familiar with the name Peng Liyuan. And if you read her bio on the World Health Organization website, she's only listed as a good-hearted person and a singer from China. What the World Health Organization fails to mention is Peng Liyuan is the wife of Chinese President Xi Jinping. That's right. The wife of the Chinese Communist president is a goodwill ambassador for the World Health Organization. As if being the wife of a brutal tyrant who presides over the persecution of Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in China, or disappears dissidents, or enforces a brutal one-child policy, or cracks down on the free people of Hong Kong, as if all of that isn't bad enough, Peng Liyuan's record in her own right is abhorrent. Funny how the World Health Organization's website doesn't mention that Peng Liyuan is a major general in the Chinese army. And wearing that uniform, she sang to Chinese soldiers after the Tiananmen Square massacre. The World Health Organization also fails to mention that Peng Liyuan was reappointed to her position at the World Health Organization by none other than WHO Director General Dr. Tedros himself. Yep. After the World Health Organization lied on behalf of the Chinese Communists about COVID-19, after the World Health Organization ignored Taiwan's warnings of human-to-human transmission of the Chinese coronavirus, after the World Health Organization tried to legitimize China's falsified COVID-19 numbers, after WHO Director General Dr. Tedros refused to vote in favor of declaring an emergency because the Chinese Communists didn't want to, and condemned President Trump's Chinese travel ban, after the Chinese Communist Party specifically handpicked Dr. Tedros to serve as their puppet in their ongoing effort to control UN agencies, after the WHO lied to us about the need to wear face masks in an effort to manipulate our behavior because they wanted to save the masks for medical workers amidst a temporary shortage caused by China stockpiling PPE. After the World Health Organization's Dr. Tedros claims that anybody who criticizes the WHO for catering to communist China is causing more body bags in the COVID crisis. And the World Health Organization condemned President Trump for suspending funding to the WHO until they stop acting like spineless puppets of the Chinese and spewing communist propaganda. Funny how the World Health Organization just forgets to mention that one of their goodwill ambassadors is Xi Jinping's wife, Peng Liyuan. Any politician who defends the World Health Organization, you show them this.
Reversing the withdrawal from the World Health Organization.
To cause a pandemic, you first have to get people sick. How do you get people sick? You have to implement something in the air that causes flu-like symptoms. The designated spot to do this was in Wuhan, China. They set off 5G in enormous capacity in Wuhan, China. This caused the people of the area to get flu-like symptoms. 26 scientists said, do not conduct 5G in that area because it will cause flu-like symptoms. As people were going to the hospital for flu-like symptoms, they were given the vaccine, which was the coronavirus. So the cameras were ready to film it as they died in the streets or wherever they were so that you could see it. Because remember, their idea was to panic the world, and I'll give you the information that President Trump received. So that's why he didn't go on with some of the things that they wanted him to do, okay?
Told that on day one, Biden will sign a slew of executive orders aimed at reversing key parts of the Trump agenda, among them rejoining the Paris Climate Accords, reversing the withdrawal from the World Health Organization.
I don't want to get into that right now. This is, there's two areas of focus, I think, for us. One is the Ukrainian, China, and other deals that were put together by Hunter that led to his father, or was, dealt with his father and his uncle James. There's a bunch of him in there as well. And there's a bunch of images that I think state authorities have to look at, but I can't get into that right now.
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. Yeah, please, John. Please.
Are you comfortable
I have
with this term?
I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. We have to help everybody. It was nobody's fault. This happened. I mean, some people could say it was somebody's fault, actually. But it was nobody's fault. I think we're doing a really good job. We started off with a termination of the border, the people coming in from China, where this all started. That meant I took it very seriously.
Talking about China, you've been very clear about who you think is to blame or where the origins of blame for this virus is.
Not think. No. I don't think. I know where it came from. I don't know if you'd say China's to blame. Certainly we didn't get an early run on it. It would have been helpful if we knew about it earlier. But it comes from China, and it's not a question about that. Nobody's questioning that.
Senator Cotton is saying that they should be punished, in so many words, for inflicting this on the American people. Do you feel that way about it?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Tom Cotton, and I know exactly what he's been saying. And there are those people that say that, so we'll see what happens.
Do you believe that China is inflicting this upon our country?
No, I don't believe they're inflicting. I think they could have given us a lot earlier notice, absolutely.
At least one White House official who used the term Kung Flu, referring to the fact that this virus started in China. Is that acceptable? Is it wrong? Are you worried that having this virus be talked about as a Chinese virus, that might help?
I wonder who said that. You know who said that?
I'm not sure the person's name, but would you condemn the fact
say
that
the term again?
A person at the White House used the term Kung Flu. My question is, do you think that that's wrong, Kung Flu? And do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target them?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%. It comes from China. There's nothing not to agree. Okay, how about last question?
Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner.
My fellow Americans, today, across the nation, many of us are feeling anxious about the spread of the COVID-19, known as the coronavirus. Because whether or not you're affected or know someone who is infected or have been in contact with an infected person, this is going to require a national response, not just from our elected leaders or our public health officials, but from all of us. Yesterday, we announced a Public Health Advisory Committee of experts who will continue to counsel my campaign and me, help guide our decisions on the steps to minimize further risks. And we will lead by science. The World Health Organization now has officially declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Downplaying it, being overly dismissive, or spreading misinformation is only going to hurt us and further advantage the spread of the disease. Let me be crystal clear. The coronavirus does not have a political affiliation. It will infect Republicans, independents, and Democrats alike, and will not discriminate based on national origin, race, gender, or zip code. It will touch people in positions of power as well as most vulnerable in our society, and it will not stop. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world may slow it, but as we've seen, it will not stop it. And travel restrictions based on favoritism and politics rather than risk will be counterproductive. We have to harness the ingenuity of our scientists and the resourcefulness of our people. And we have to help the world to drive coordinated global strategy, not shut ourselves off from the world. Protecting the health and safety of the American people is the most important job of any president. And unfortunately, this virus laid bare the severe shortcomings of the current administration. Our government's ability to respond effectively has been undermined by hollowing out our agencies and disparagement of science. And our ability to drive a global response is dramatically undercut by the damage Trump has done to our credibility and our relationships around the world. We have to get to work immediately to dig ourselves out of this hole. And that's why today I'm releasing a plan to combat and overcome the coronavirus. The full details of the plan, want to see them, go to joebiden.com, where I lay out the immediate steps we have to take to deliver one decisive public health response to curb the spread of the disease and to provide treatment to those who need it, and a decisive economic response that delivers real relief to American workers, families, and small businesses, and protects the economy as a whole. But by cutting our investment in global health, this administration has left us woefully unprepared for the exact crisis we now face. No president can promise to prevent future outbreaks. But I can promise you this: when I'm president, we will be better prepared, respond better, and recover better. We'll lead with science. We'll listen to the experts. We'll heed their advice. And we'll build American leadership and rebuild it to rally the world to meet the global threats that we're likely to face again.
Yesterday, the House of Representatives voted on a financial rescue plan that had been negotiated by congressional leaders of both parties in my administration. Unfortunately, the measure was defeated by a narrow margin. I'm disappointed by the outcome, but I assure our citizens and citizens around the world that this is not the end of the legislative process. Producing legislation is complicated and it can be contentious. It matters little what a path a bill takes to become law. What matters is that we get a law. We're at a critical moment for our economy, and we need legislation that decisively addresses the troubled assets now clogging the financial system, helps lenders resume the flow of credit to consumers and businesses, and allows the American economy to get moving again. I recognize this is a difficult vote for members of Congress. Many of them don't like the fact that our economy has reached this point, and I understand that. But the reality is that we're in an urgent situation, and the consequences will grow worse each day if we do not act. The dramatic drop in the stock market that we saw yesterday will have a direct impact on the retirement accounts, pension funds, and personal savings of millions of our citizens. And if our nation continues on this course, the economic damage will be painful and lasting. I know many Americans are especially worried about the cost of the legislation. The The bill the House considered yesterday commits up to $700 billion taxpayer dollars to purchase troubled assets from banks and other financial institutions. That, no question, is a large amount of money. We're also dealing with a large problem. But to put that in perspective, the drop in the stock market yesterday represented more than $1 trillion in losses. Furthermore, both the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office and the Office of Management and Budget expect that the legislation considered would ultimately cost the taxpayer far less than the $700 billion, because the government would be purchasing troubled assets and selling them once the market recovers. It is likely that many of the assets would go up in value over time. Ultimately, we expect that much, if not all, of the tax dollars we invest will be paid back. As much as we might wish the situation were different, our country is not facing a choice between government action and the smooth functioning of the free market. We're facing a choice between action and the real prospect of economic hardship for millions of Americans, and for the financial security of every American. Congress must act. My administration will continue to work closely with leaders of both parties on Capitol Hill. I appreciate their determined efforts. Well, Congress is out today for the Jewish holiday. My administration will be talking to congressional leaders today about how we can move legislation forward when members begin returning to the Capitol tomorrow. Our economy is depending on decisive action from the government. The sooner we address the problem, the sooner we can get back on the path of growth and job creation. This is what elected leaders owe the American people, and I'm confident we'll deliver. Thank you.
Of its founders.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Over 40 years of Secret Service in the Intelligence Department in the United States under many different presidents. So I'm giving you information from people who know what's going on, okay? This operation is an intelligence operation that began by 200 generals, secret and Secret Service officers, okay? It began because of what happened at 9/11 in 2001. 200 generals got together and said, enough, okay? And so an operation began to overthrow this government and to stop child pedophilia and...
It looks like there were a lot of connections to the Brookings Institute, which for those of your viewers who don't know what this is like the prominent left-wing think tank here in our nation's capital. And we think there is a connection between the president of Brookings and those dossiers that were given to the State Department that mirrored the Steele dossiers, which, look, all of this, what does this mean? This was the Clinton campaign's dossiers. It was the dirt. It was a phony story that they sold not only to the American people, but they sold it and corrupted our FBI, where it appears like these dirty cops were more than willing to take this information and present it to the FISA court.
Yes, that was Congressman Devin Nunes on this program back in 2020, exposing direct links between the Brookings Institute and Christopher Steele's fabricated dossier, which was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton and her campaign and the Democratic National Committee. Last week, Steele's primary subsource, Igor Danchenko, who was also an analyst at Brookings, was arrested and charged with 5 counts of lying to the FBI. The third indictment in special counsel John Durham's probe He has since pleaded not guilty. My next guest took the depositions of several of the players who were pushing the phony Russia collusion lie. Former Pentagon Chief of Staff Kash Patel joins me right now. He, along with Devin Nunes, cracked open this case 3-4 years ago. Kash, it's good to see you this morning in a snowy Pennsylvania. Great-looking shot there.
Great to be with you, Maria. Thanks so much for having me from Happy Valley.
So, Kash, connect the dots for us. You heard Devin talking about the Brookings Institute. I'll bring up the graphic of Durham's indictment of Danchenko. Talking about Danchenko working as an analyst at Washington-based bank think tank, which is the Brookings Institute, where he focused on Russia and Eurasian geopolitical matters. Tell me about the connection that Danchenko had in Brookings.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. And let's front load the conversation, Maria. John Durham issued subpoenas to the Brookings Institute. I don't think most of America knows that, but he actually issued federal grand jury subpoenas for documentation, which we now know he used in his indictment against Danchenko. And who was Danchenko? Danchenko was Fiona Hill's former research assistant. Who is Fiona Hill? The world probably remembers. She's the one who conjured up the Ukraine impeachment fiasco in her time at the White House. And why is she important? Fiona Hill connected Danchenko to Christopher Steele. A political operative in the White House connected Christopher Steele to his primary source and allowed her to get all this false information into the FBI. How does that relate to Charlie Dolan? Fiona Hill also connected Charlie Dolan, the Clinton ally operative, to now Danchenko, the indicted individual under Durham, whose documentation was recovered by John Durham, thankfully, through his lawful and appropriate use of federal subpoenas. And I think he's got a lot more coming.
John Durham over 1,000 other documents that have not yet been declassified that I know include intelligence that goes specifically to this criminal activity that would be the basis for further indictments. And, you know, again, what happened with the Steele dossier, a grand jury is saying was criminal in nature, and I expect that all of the folks that are involved with creating it and peddling it falsely would be in jeopardy.
And that was former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe with me last week on this program on what he declassified, which, of course, exposed that this dossier and whole Russia collusion lie was a fabrication from Hillary Clinton. I am back with Kash Patel right now. And Kash, we mentioned Fiona Hill making all of these introductions to Christopher Steele as well as Charles Dolan. Meanwhile, she says she has no idea what they were doing. Here is a quote from her from a closed-door testimony from October of 2019 saying, "I have no knowledge whatsoever of how he developed that dossier. None. I just want to state that." What are your thoughts on this? And give us your sense of the 3 indictments we've seen so far and where this is going.
Yeah, real quick on Fiona Hill. I think John Durham is on the case here because Fiona Hill has a credibility problem. I believe she lied to Congress there under oath. She connected the main Clinton political operative, who Devin and I had never heard of because DOJ and FBI withheld those documents from us intentionally, I believe so. And now John Durham has exposed that. She connects the Steele operation to the Democratic Party, and she has the gall to go on national TV or into closed-door testimony and say, I don't know what's going on with Steele. But John Durham's on that case, and I think we're going to get there. As to the 3 indictments that John Durham has issued, I believe he's built a sort of triangle of indictments, as I call them. At the top of the pyramid, you have Sussman, who represents an indictment of the Hillary Clinton campaign, the DNC, the law firm, and Fusion GPS, funneling tens of millions of dollars to perpetuate the biggest fraud in American history into the FBI. The bottom 2 pillars of the Durham triangle, I believe, are the FBI's, John Durham's indictment of the FBI attorney, which is literally an indictment of the FBI and now a criminal conviction for lying to a federal court to perpetuate a fraud and get a FISA warrant falsely. The last leg of the Durham triangle comes in the form of his recent indictment of Danchenko. Who's Danchenko and why does it matter? Danchenko is Steele's main source, introduced to Steele by Fiona Hill, who Steele relied on to write his dossier, in which he said Steele, received credible information from Danchenko. We now know Danchenko's a liar. We also know, because of the Durham investigation, Danchenko provided no credible information to Christopher Steele. So his credibility has been destroyed, and these merchants of menace are finally coming to light thanks to John Durham's great work. And he's got a long way to go. And I'm glad he's getting the the information that Rod Rosenstein and Chris Wray intentionally withheld from Chairman Nunes in our investigation during Russiagate probe.
So on the Kevin Kleinsmith indictment, this is the FBI attorney. Does it end there, or are we going to see a road to others in the FBI, perhaps getting arrested for directing Kevin Kleinsmith? This is a young guy who obviously changed paperwork to say that Carter Page was not an asset of the CIA when, in fact, he was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, I think all roads lead to Andy McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI, who was caught lying 3 times by the inspector general during his tenure there. Kevin Kleinsmith, a mid-level FBI attorney, cannot pull off the greatest political scandal in history alone. He needs direction from his supervisors. He's a convicted felon. He doctored a piece of paper for the FISA court. Now, I, as a former national security prosecutor who did FISAs, know how horrendous and how egregious that type of conduct is. But more importantly, I know that it cannot be done alone. It is virtually impossible to get that information to a federal judge for a secret surveillance warrant without the deputy director of the FBI knowing it. And I think all roads lead to Andy McCabe. His credibility is in question, not to mention that of Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Andy McCabe, who orchestrated the insurance policy to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. That's their own text messages.
Real quick before you go, you took the deposition of Jake Sullivan. As I keep saying on this program and have for some time, those who abused power are now in power. Jake Sullivan was the communications person for Hillary Clinton. A manager for her. Now he is working for Joe Biden at the NSA. He said he put out a tweet and a post back in October of 2016. Listen to this. This could be the most direct link yet between Donald Trump and Moscow. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to the Russian-based bank. Here is his post that Hillary Clinton then tweeted out. Jake Sullivan was peddling and spreading the dossier.
He was, and he has the gall to come into Congress. And as you mentioned, I took so many of those depositions and say he had no idea, like Fiona Hill, how the dossier was created or who the $10 million Jake Sullivan and the DNC were paying was being utilized to collect foreign intelligence fraudulent information. So I think John Durham's on his case. And Maria, wouldn't it be the irony of all ironies for the current national security prosecutor to get charged with an actual felony based on real information and fact and not have this Department of Justice withhold exculpatory evidence like they did to the former national security advisor under Donald Trump? I think that's the accountability that the American public so desperately need. And I think that's where this road is going and where John Durham's taking us. So stay tuned. I think we're only 60 to 70% of the way there.
All right, we'll keep watching that and talk with you along the way. Cash, thanks very much for joining us from beautiful, snowy Pennsylvania this morning. Cash Patel.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
So I got disconnected. But no, what I was saying, man, like Trump is doing everything he's supposed to do. The January 6th, he pardoning those people. Just like, look how Biden pardoned his son and all these other goons that got shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Trump went in and he did what he supposed to do, getting these people that was involved with January 6th, man. Hats off to you folks, man. Welcome home, man. I'm glad y'all, getting taken care of, man. Everybody's good. This is something that was a long time coming, man. Like, them folks should have never been locked up like that in prison. You basically, man, in a corrupt system, all right? And you seen basically what it's like to be a black man in America a lot of times. It's what happens to us in prison, falsely in prison for stuff. Man, I almost got taken to prison or jail when I was like 16, man. They tried to accuse me of murder when I was 16 years old. It ain't had nothing to do with nothing, man. All I did was play basketball and go to school. And they pulled me over talking about I murdered somebody. And was literally about to take me to jail. Was trying to put me in cuffs and everything, man. Like, some crazy, but that's the type of stuff that happens, man. Falsely in prison. People getting railroaded. That's what happened, man, in a corrupt system, right? That's what happened to Tupac. Got took into prison, talking about he touched some girl's buttocks and all this, and they was basically having consensual sex and stuff, but they took him to prison over that because the FBI was after him because he was a leader. He was telling the stuff that he needed to tell, the good stuff. He was on the good side, helping people, helping children, and had a good heart. Nah, he wasn't like Diddy. Diddy on the opposite side. That's why he had the FBI helping him and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, you have to go back, man. Like I said, the FBI been corrupt, though. You go back and look at my video. Damn, what's that dude's name? I can't think of him off the head. Man, I had a video where he was talking about how the FBI was involved and stuff. I can't. It's a couple of dudes, man. John Steele, and it's no Robert Steele. Robert Steele has since passed away, man. But he would have liked to seen today. He would like to see today some good stuff that's happening. Not just Robert Steele, it's another guy that was in the FBI was talking about the stuff that was going on in the FBI, man. I'm telling you, it's not what y'all think. It's not what y'all think. So he cleaning that up, all right? Now, we already talked about the medicine, the water, the food, censorship. Mark Zuckerberg, see how he kind of slowly drifted over, and I'm showing you in this video that these 3 different folks, they basically, it ain't what you think. It ain't like, oh, they just went and talked to him. Nah, they replacing folks, guys. Just like they replaced Gucci Man, replaced Dave Chappelle, the bad guys did this stuff. Yeah, the good guys do that kind of stuff too. Hey, this is a battle on a whole nother level, man. Y'all just seeing it on the surface level, like y'all just seeing the replacements step in, and y'all don't know they replacements. Y'all just think they just had to change their heart. See, but if you conscious of about what's going on this level, then you know this crap is real. You know what's really, really happening out here. And I told you, it's ships out here, man. It's beings out here. They out here, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, like, it's a war that's being fought. We just the little pawns living our life on the board, man. We don't see nothing that's going on around us. We not supposed to. We just supposed to live our life. It's been a battle being fought to keep us from being depopulated. Do you understand? It's time traveling going on. Mandela effect is happening. Stuff is real out here, man. Most folks don't understand it, can't comprehend it, won't never know. They'll die in their sleep. Most people gonna die in their sleep. It's a real thing, man. But anyway, back to what Trump doing. Like I said, he removed us from the World Health Organization. Again, saving y'all asses. But you don't understand that because you don't know what's going on out here. The World Health Organization been corrupt. They in cahoots with Rockefeller, the Rothschilds. Must I go on? And y'all know who they are. Look at your dollar bill. Look at your dollar bill. It tells the whole story. So anyway, they in cahoots with them, and he removed them because they was trying to steal our sovereignty. So he restored our sovereignty. So now if something happens, they don't have no power, no authority, and no emergency use authorization to force you to take nothing, to take your kids about your house. They can't do none of that. How you got a problem with this man when he doing this kind of stuff for you? But you all, oh, they gonna do that, the orange man, he gonna do this, that, and other, because you regurgitating the crap that has been spewed through the mainstream media. Trump is a racist. He's a racist. He hates black people. Yeah, but he giving loans to black people and not making them pay it back in the 70s and 80s. Wow. Who doing that for you? Miss me with that, man. Like y'all, like, man, like people come over here talking this stuff, man. I've been telling y'all from the jump, man, where this man is at and what he doing. I told y'all, we talking about Andromedas, we talking about Palladians, we talking about other beings, other life forms. Trump got help, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, it ain't what y'all think. He got help. He couldn't fight these damn Dracos by himself. You crazy, man? They got too much technology, too much power, man. Too many assets, too many people in powerful places for him to fight them by himself, man. That's why I showed y'all the things on the TV. You see the lady eating flies on TV, and you still don't know, like, you don't know what I'm talking about? I show you the folks shifting. I show you these beings that freaking transforming right in front of your face. They teeth growing and crap. Look at the Mark Zuckerberg. One of them friggers was a reptilian. Like, they take position in people. I showed y'all that, man. They able to take over people, host them. Man, parasites, regular parasites able to host people and getting people in control of their thoughts and stuff. That's how you get schizophrenia. So what you think these alien life forms with parasitic fetuses and things, what they able to do? They just like tadpoles or something. They can go in and take over. Like, guys, man, I'm not gonna go into all of that, man. Like I just said, I just came up off a strike. They just demonetized me again because I'm telling y'all this stuff, the stuff that y'all don't understand. But anyway, man, I'm not trying to go in that direction. This video is probably be short because I already put it together. I just wanted to put this other piece on there because there was some other stuff happening that I thought y'all need to know about. Like I said, you got Cash Patel over the FBI. You got Mel Gibson going in over Hollywood. Right? You got RFK taking care of the food and water. Right? You got Mark Zuckerberg flipping from censoring people on Facebook and stuff to opening it up to freedom of speech again. You got censorship on all platforms being removed. Right? You got the World Health Organization having to fall back and restore our sovereignty. But see, y'all ain't knowing nothing. This type of stuff been going on. The battles been being fought. Just because something happened today don't mean it wasn't going on yesterday. These battles being fought yesterday. But now you're getting the information from somebody, a source that's telling you exactly what's going on. But you live in your regular life like, I'm just going to work today. And a whole lot of shit going on behind your back that's making it so you can go to work and feed your children and stuff. Oh, not to mention Trump talking about abolishing the IRS and stuff too. We talking about the SAR now. Like, man, what you talking about? Man, I already broke that down. I did it with ChatGPT. Y'all supposed to be paying attention. Watch my other videos. That's all I can tell you, man. But, man, you just have to look at everything that the man doing right now. And until he do something contrary to what we need him to do, then leave the man alone. What did Biden do? Look at all the stuff he did that's hurting us. They was trying to destroy the country. And why do you think they let all these damn illegals in? They was trying to create a third world country, create chaos, order out of chaos. And then they trying to go ahead and get another pandemic drummed up so that they can go ahead and start forcing people to do all kind of stuff and just really push the depopulation right down our throats. Oh yeah, and he also making men identify as men and women identify as women, which is great because that's how God intended it. Anybody say anything other than that is a fool. God intended you to be a man, so he gave you man genitalia. Women, he wanted you to give birth, so he gave you the reproductive system to do so. He didn't give it to a man. And man shouldn't be giving it to a man. Alright? That's what I talk about, man. People having these false revelations about what life is about and what God is. Look, God created you to be the way you're supposed to be, man. Man has manipulated you by giving you these schedules and stuff that's messing with your mind, your neurological system, making people want to be transgender and stuff. Now, I have to watch what I say because I just got to claim it off. But, yeah, I talked about that. Abortions and stuff, the fetuses and all that, yeah. They doing stuff with that, man, to make people the way they are. I got this Dr. Tyrone. I might put him on here, man. He was talking about how they was putting stuff in the pesticides and insecticides and stuff and spraying it on the food to make people a certain kind of way. I'm just saying, but I'm not supposed to be talking about this. So, anyway, man, that's some of the stuff that he's doing, and I just want to put that stuff in the video so people understand what time it is, man. Stop getting mad sitting here going through the comments and saying all this bad stuff about the man when he ain't done nothing but good as of yet. All right? When he do something bad, please let me know. When he do some bad stuff that affect you, when he throws somebody back in slavery or something, please let me know. Please let me know, okay? But as far as right now, it looked like he breaking the chains of slavery, all right? Look like he's breaking it, and he's restoring the republic, restoring democracy. And that's why I put that piece in the beginning of the video talking about democracy, because people don't even know what democracy is. You've been so brainwashed to accept what the media tell you as democracy. Like, and Hillary talking about he's trying to take our democracy. Yeah, he's trying to take it. They send their point. Yeah, he's trying to take your democracy. Why they snatching it right behind your back? They done snatched your whole democracy, and you ain't even know it. Because they sitting there pointing the finger at somebody else saying they're taking your democracy when they already took your democracy. And you ain't even recognize it because you listening to somebody saying it, but you ain't seeing what somebody doing. That's what I'm saying. Y'all saying stuff about what Trump gonna do, but you're not paying attention to what he's doing that's actually helping. See, this is what I'm saying. The programming and stuff where psychologically it's fucking you up in your mind where you don't understand what's really going on out here. You accepting what's being told to you, not what's actually happening and what's going on. Look at the stuff yourself. Is Trump trying to steal your democracy? How? If he giving you restoring freedom of speech and all this stuff, how? He giving you your rights to be able to choose if you want to take a experiment or not. How? When they try to force you to take it, that's taking your democracy. When they trying to force a candidate down your throat, giving you Kamala and giving you Biden and forcing the election to go that way, that's taking your democracy, stealing your vote and stuff. That's taking your democracy, making it so you can't talk and speak out and all that. That's taking your democracy. Folks don't know what democracy is. He restored that. You see what I'm saying? This is the corruption that's been going on in this country so long, man. You got so many dumb people that don't know that. And I can't even just call them dumb because a lot of these people just brainwashed. It is the medicine, the food, the water. It's that simple. Y'all been getting jacked up for a long time, man. A long time. That y'all so jacked up that y'all don't even know you're jacked up. You don't even know you're getting jacked up. That's why you're getting jacked for your democracy. You don't even know you're getting jacked. Somebody got a gun to your head, but you don't see the gun. Anyway, man, watch the rest of the video, man. I just wanted to put that out there because there's a lot going on. And I hadn't really got to talk about it much, but check the video, man. Hope everybody's good. I will see you at the end of the video. I will see you on the next part of the video.
When I read the statistic that for the age group of 18 to 45, the #1 cause of death is CCP fentanyl. We are not prioritized to go after the threats that face this country and most of all, that face our future generations. But thank God we will be starting right now.
America's public enemy #1 in the United States is drug abuse. In order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
And I promise you this, with every fiber of my being, that our law enforcement, that our teachers, that our first responders, that our veterans, that our men and women in uniform who dare to serve this country and put themselves below the rest of our needs will be reprioritized to the top of the heap because they are standing on that wall, and we will not let that light go dark on them.
I know that Kash Patel has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor. He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense. I have known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job.
Well, first off, I want to go back. You should be happy that so many comments have been directed towards Kash Patel, whose confirmation I am supporting. In fact, I'm meeting with him today.
He's just the guy to lead the FBI. We love our brave men and women in law enforcement. I've been proud to serve with the FBI in Iraq and Afghanistan alongside our SEAL teams as we track and capture terrorists. We stand behind our men and women in blue, and we want them to have the best leadership they possibly can. At the same time, the FBI needs some reformation. They need to be held accountable for upholding our Constitution and, most importantly, fighting crime in America, which is their mandate.
With every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. We'll make America great again.
Here at the People's Voice, we are determined to continue exposing the elites, but we need your help.
We have always said it is about the children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one. So I'm telling you right now, a lot of people don't want to get it. There's enough of you to do something, anything. And there's so many of you able to get loud. There will be no car accidents. There will be no fires or overdoses. But if there is one, Can you read between the lines? There's a call from the prisons. Someone thinks that they have a green light on us that they don't even know what they're talking about. I'm telling you right now, just so you can focus before I go, if something happens to us after we get off this live, in the meantime, I just want you to know I have dropped paperwork, documents, information off with everybody around the world, and I'm telling all of you insurance holders that are watching this right now, if we are dead, there is no point for you to sit on that information. Do you hear me? No point. If we are no longer here, I expect you to please, I beg you, to please let everything out unredacted. As of right now, I've kept everything redacted. A lot of stuff redacted. I've been letting stuff out slowly for 4 years. Not the main stuff, though. Not unless somebody uncovers it themselves. But if you uncover it yourself, I'll let go of all the redaction. I'm telling you right now that something is really wrong. Really wrong. The world will find out soon. Because it's not just about us, it's about you too.
I feel about Hillary Clinton. Ask me what I've seen about Barack Obama. Ask me what I know about Michelle Obama. Ask me. Anybody? Anybody gonna ask me? No? Nobody gonna ask me? Do we want to go there about what I know about Michelle? Because, I mean, I can definitely tell you. I mean, you can... No, I won't go there just yet. Might be in my investigation. If I'm saying something, trust me, my ass knows what I'm talking about. And trust me, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to back it up. If you following me, you should, I mean, you probably knew, so you didn't know that by now. But the nigga who addressed me, yes, he's a nigga. Sorry, I just had to go there because he's a nigga. Okay? I don't know why he's on my page. But the nigga that addressed me, you mighty stupid. That's the ignorance of being a nigga. That's what the word nigga means. It means stupid. That's why we get called niggas all the time, because you act like that. You know that, right? You know that, right? Because not a damn thing that I've done on my Instagram I've never backed up.
I put this together. I want y'all to see some things, man, that we had to talk about. Like Trump's appointees, the people he's appointing. Okay, look at the thing with Mel Gibson. Like, people don't understand Mel Gibson, man. Why would he appoint Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson did what? Okay, Mel Gibson, like, we on some spiritual stuff, but we also understand we're on the Christian side of this, okay? With God, righteousness, Jesus, all that, that's where we at with stuff, right? So Mel Gibson is a product of that. All right, when I say a product, that means he's been supporting, he's been in that type of movement. You look back on Mel Gibson in the movies he's made. Mel Gibson made The Passion of Christ. He's always got these heartfelt movies, man, that come from the heart and doing the right thing, right? You look at his movie Passion of Christ, okay, talking about Jesus Christ and needing that, being on the positive side of that, right? So he's also been outspoken about Hollywood, at least the satanic rituals, the eyes wide shut type of crap, the sacrifices. He know about all that, and he's actually talked about it. All right, and that's why I put this piece in here so people can see.
First time I really came over here, you know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
You're 7 years old and someone is stroking you. It feels good.
Our future is our children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
The latest buzz in Tinseltown is all about Mel Gibson's explosive revelations in the film Sound of Freedom,
Brace yourselves as Mel pulls back the curtain on the dark underbelly of Hollywood's elite, exposing their alleged involvement in the scandalous world of illicit human trade. And guess who's caught right in the middle of it? None other than the iconic Oprah Winfrey herself. So what exactly did Mel say?
Our future is our children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
In the glitzy world of Hollywood, where controversies and scandals are the talk of the town, it's surprising how one particular movie has managed to fly under the radar. Sound of Freedom, directed by Alejandro Gomez Monteverde, delves deep into the dark underbelly of illegal human trade, revealing the shocking methods employed by the elite to lure innocent victims into their sinister rings. But what's even more intriguing is the lack of buzz, press coverage, and endorsements surrounding this important film.
Why is a film starring a big actor, an established director, and being promoted by Mel Gibson is not being shown in cinemas?
It seems the message of the movie has ruffled some powerful feathers. Why, you ask? Well, in the movie, former action star Mel Gibson takes the lead role in Sound of Freedom, portraying the true story of ex-government agent Tim Ballard, who leaves the government to establish Operation Underground Railroad, dedicated to rescuing children from the clutches of illegal human trade rings. The film sheds light on the horrors of this abhorrent industry, aiming to raise awareness and mobilize action against it. However, despite the urgency of the topic, major streaming platforms like Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu shockingly rejected the movie, refusing to give it a platform for worldwide exposure. It's a puzzling move, considering these platforms are often at the forefront of promoting socially conscious content. Could it be that the film's explosive revelations hit a little too close to home for some? Adding fuel to the fire, celebrity voices that are typically quick to endorse woke causes have remained eerily silent about Sound of Freedom. It's as if the Hollywood elite have collectively turned a blind eye to a film that exposes their own industry's dirty secrets. The lack of support from these influential figures raises questions about their true commitment to social justice and human rights. But the intrigue doesn't end there. Sound of Freedom was initially in the hands of Disney, which acquired the rights after its merger with 21st Century Fox in 2019. However, the House of Mouse mysteriously shelved the project, leaving many to wonder why. Whispers in the industry suggest a more sinister motive behind the rejection and lack of promotion for Sound of Freedom. Accusations circulate that the likes of Disney, Netflix, and Amazon Prime deliberately avoided obtaining the rights to the film to allegedly prevent the truth about child AB and the illegal trade from reaching global viewers. Could it be an attempt to cover a specific group of industry elites? You see, these so-called industry big shots who wield immense power behind the scenes of Hollywood have always presented themselves as philanthropists with hearts of gold. But what if their true intentions were far more sinister than we could have ever imagined?
Imagine that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you are exactly on track.
One such group of elites is the Good Club. This is the creme de la creme of global elites. According to The Guardian, this exclusive group of billionaire philanthropists holds top-secret meetings right in the heart of New York City. Names like Bill Gates, George Soros, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, David Rockefeller, and Ted Turner often grace the guest list. But also, lesser-known but equally wealthy figures like Eli and Edith Broad also make appearances, making us wonder what really goes on behind closed doors. Now, one name that sticks out is Oprah Winfrey. We all know her as the billionaire show host and philanthropist with a name larger than life, right? Wrong. Buckle up, because there's a side of Oprah that she'd rather keep hidden, and it's far from admirable. Is it possible that the Queen of Talk has a darker side that she doesn't want us to see? Well, the highly anticipated film, Sound of Freedom, is set to expose the shocking methods used by the Hollywood elites to trap innocent victims. While the movie doesn't explicitly name Oprah, her alleged connections to notorious figures like Harvey Weinstein cannot be ignored. You see, despite Weinstein's long-standing reputation as a predator, Oprah maintained a close relationship with him. Speculation arose that she may have even encouraged actresses to work with him, leading to accusations of her complicity in the alleged misconduct. These allegations conflicted with Oprah's public persona as a champion of women's empowerment and a supporter of the #MeToo movement. Some argued that her association with Weinstein demonstrated a double standard in her treatment of accused individuals. And this is not the worst of it all. One of Oprah's most notorious moves was her decision to feature the self-proclaimed healer and criminal extraordinaire, John of God, on her show. Picture this, a Brazilian healer who claims to possess spiritual powers and uses them to purportedly heal people. Sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie, right? Well, in this case, reality turned out to be even stranger than fiction. John of God, as he came to be known, managed a healing facility in Brazil where vulnerable individuals sought solace and spiritual guidance. Little did they know that the man they were entrusting their well-being to had a dark and sinister side. It wasn't long before the truth about John of God's criminal activities came to light. Reports of SA and AB began to emerge, painting a chilling portrait of a man who shamelessly took advantage of those who sought his help. But what's truly mind-boggling is the role that Oprah played in catapulting John of God into the limelight. By featuring him on her show, she bestowed upon him a stamp of legitimacy, giving him access to a wider audience and inadvertently endorsing his criminal behavior. This eyebrow-raising incident took place back in 2010 during one of Oprah's attention-grabbing segments titled, "Do You Believe in Miracles?" Little did her audience know that the miracle they were about to witness was the rise of a criminal under the guise of a spiritual healer. Anyway, while Oprah did attempt to salvage her reputation by expressing empathy towards the brave women who came forward with allegations against John of God, it's clear that her involvement had already left an indelible mark. The damage had been done, and the sinister connection between Oprah and this criminal healer would forever be etched in the annals of scandalous history. And as if this is not bad enough already, Oprah Winfrey's Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa has always been a hotbed of controversy. In 2007, Oprah opened the Leadership Academy for Girls, inspired by Nelson Mandela and her promise to him. Little did anyone know that this venture would become a hotbed of controversy, stirring up whispers and skepticism from day one. As soon as news broke about Oprah's ambitious project, the South African government wasted no time in expressing their disdain. They criticized the exorbitant cost of the school and questioned its relevance in a country plagued by poverty. But did Oprah let that deter her? Not a chance. With an air of grandiosity and a touch of arrogance, she forged ahead, creating a glitzy institution that boasted luxurious salons and extravagant gyms. And that's when the conspiracy theories began to take flight. Whispers spread like wildfire, with many suggesting that the lavish school served as a front for something much darker: illegal human trade. The opulence and extravagance raised eyebrows and fueled suspicions that innocent young girls were being groomed for a life of exploitation. While no concrete evidence ever surfaced to support these scandalous claims, it's impossible to deny that the whispers added a layer of intrigue and suspicion to the already controversial academy. But it didn't stop there. Scandals and controversies soon plagued the institution, exposing a dark and seedy underbelly that Oprah had fought so hard to keep hidden. One shocking incident involved an employee named Virginia, whose role involved overseeing the dormitories. It was discovered that she had engaged in highly inappropriate conduct with not one, but multiple students between the ages of 13 and 15. These vulnerable young girls, handpicked by Oprah herself, fell victim to the very person entrusted with their care. It was a stain on Oprah's reputation and a disturbing reflection of the Academy's inner workings. Desperate to salvage her image and protect the brand she had built, Oprah swooped in with a team of investigators to uncover the truth, but the darkness didn't dissipate with Virginia's scandal. Less than 2 years later, another controversy erupted within the walls of Oprah's Academy. Disturbing revelations emerged, shedding light on a culture of violence and intimidation among the students. It was revealed that a 15-year-old girl had been pressuring victims into silence, coercing them not to report the physical altercations to their parents or authorities. Shockingly, 7 students were suspended for their involvement in intimidating behavior and inappropriate acts. Despite Oprah's attempts to address these issues, it seemed that the problems were deeply ingrained within the Academy's very foundation. Meanwhile, fans have not been shy about expressing their disgust for the alleged actions of these Hollywood elites. One fan commented, "She's a handler, and I'm happy to see more people are becoming aware of the toxic person she truly is." Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.
So is Donald Trump about to make Hollywood great again? The president-elect announcing actors Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sly Stallone will be special ambassadors to Hollywood. Actor Dean Cain joins us now. Great to see you, Dean. So are we going to make Hollywood great again?
Let's hope so. First, I just want to say congratulations to my big brother, Will Cain, on his new show, even though I'm many years older than he is. But look, Charlie, look, you got Mel Gibson, Jon Voight, Sylvester Stallone, all huge Hollywood legends, all folks who have survived numerous cancellation attempts, and shockingly all a little bit conservative. It's a huge departure from the recent years of, the Obamas on the board of directors for Netflix and things like that. But Andrew Breitbart once famously said, politics is downstream from culture. And he's right, because liberals have been in control of Hollywood for a long, long time. And the studios also controlled by liberals. So Disney, changing every known beloved character into some woke version of the original. So obviously what we see on TV and on the screens and so on and so forth can have a huge impact on how we feel about certain issues, situations. And you look at the successful films lately, Top Gun Maverick, Sound of Freedom, the #1 late night television show, Gutfeld, Yep. So people have been voting with their pocketbooks. It's wonderful. I love to see these guys in there. Things are changing. And it's wonderful to see these guys sort of, celebrated as opposed to canceled.
Yeah. No, I love that you mentioned that quote from Andrew Breitbart, and I think it's so important and so true. And I think it's really a big reason why the left goes so crazy about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not downstream from culture. Donald Trump is culture. And I think that that's why they freak out so much about him, and it's why he has been so successful.
Yeah, well, they've controlled culture, so to speak, for so long. I think they got complacent and they started to get out over their skis a little bit. Some of these shows are just slap in the face, and audiences have been rejecting him. So I think it's wonderful. I'm looking forward to an absolutely incredible 4 years coming up and beyond. I feel like there's sanity back in the United States of America, and I couldn't be more excited. Great choice by President Trump. All great guys, all great actors, and they'll be the president's eyes and ears in Hollywood. Wow, what a concept.
Do you find that in Hollywood these days that there is a different sort of, I feel like the reaction to President Trump's election victory this time, like here in New York, was different. Do you find that there's sort of a different wind in around Hollywood today?
Oh, yeah, people are talking openly. I've been doing it for years, but I've been like one of 5 people talking like this. Yeah. And now suddenly everybody is like, well, because it couldn't be any worse than the last 4 years, to be honest. And what's been going on with an absentee president, and who knows who's really been running the country. It's clear right now who's running the country. Everybody knows it. They're like, you know what? I made a mistake the first time. Let's bring Donald Trump back in and see if we can't correct this thing, and I can pay less for my groceries, and wars across the world will stop. And I mean, it goes on and on and on, my friend. But people are talking about it. Hollywood is a lot more awake now, and I'm very happy about it.
Well, maybe you've pinpointed the one accomplishment of Joe Biden. He made everybody realize how much we appreciate Donald Trump. Thank you, Dean Cain.
The U.S. government should be defending its companies, right? Not be the tip of the spear attacking its companies. I don't want to come across as if, we don't have things that we need to do better. Obviously, we do. And when we mess something up, we deserve to be held accountable for that, and just like everyone else. I do think that the American technology industry is a bright spot in the American economy. I think it's a strategic advantage for the United States that we have a lot of the strongest companies in the world. And I think it should be part of the U.S.'s strategy going forward to defend that. And it's one of the things that I'm optimistic about with President Trump.
So that was Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg arguing that when the U.S. government targets or attacks tech companies, it sets a dangerous precedent. And it seems kind of rich coming from Mark Zuckerberg because, it was Zuck that Donald Trump literally threatened to throw in prison for the rest of his life if he did anything illegal to influence the presidential election. And this week, Trump even gloated that Zuckerberg rolled back his fact-checking program because he scared him into it. And with that capitulation, Zuck seems to have completed his full transformation from tech bro to MAGA world. The transformation includes bulking up, abandoning his hoodie for an oversized black tee, and of course, a little bling around his neck. And to be honest, the signs have been there for a while. This was not an overnight transformation. Back in 2023, the Meta CEO agreed to a hypothetical cage fight with fellow billionaire Elon Musk, which thankfully never actually happened. Zuckerberg has been trying to find his way to the ring for some time. After all, who could forget this awkward moment at a UFC fight last year where he seemed out of place walking in with a fighter's entourage and then not knowing what to do. No matter how much the Zuck tried, he just seemed out of place. Until now, it seems. Earlier this month, Zuckerberg announced that UFC CEO Dana White will join the board of directors at Meta. And I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it. White is a good person to have in Zuckerberg's corner. Not only did he speak during Trump's victory night speech, he has been friends with Donald Trump for decades. Zuckerberg is probably hoping that he'll be one of the boys, joining White, Trump, and Elon Musk at those UFC fights. You know who else is in both the UFC and Trump orbit? Joe Rogan. He has been a ringside commentator at UFC fights for years, and he just had Zuckerberg on a new episode of his popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, that aired yesterday.
We're also lucky that you got into jiu-jitsu because I think that had an effect on you. You look different. When you walked in here today, you look thicker. You look like a different guy. You do. You look like a jiu-jitsu guy now. It's funny. I saw your neck. I'm like, his neck's bigger. Your neck is bigger.
Good.
Yeah, big neck, thick, plus Joe Rogan's blessing. What more does a man need to make it in MAGA world? Molly, Dean, and Angela are back with me. Angela, your take on this full transformation by Zuckerberg. I mean, it's we can joke around a little bit, but it carries some serious and dangerous weight for a lot in this country.
Yeah, it really does, for a lot of reasons. I mean, this isn't surprising. I mean, he's done this before. Let's not forget that back in 2016, after Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson, and Laura Ingraham did this meeting with him in May of 2016, he radically overhauled Facebook's policies around the trending topics section, and right-wing misinformation and content exploded. There's been this idea, at least into that sort of metastasized, that somehow Facebook has been suppressing or censoring conservative content. It's just the right wing working the refs. I mean, we did a big study that looked at 29 million posts. Right-wing content had 42% of the engagements, even though it only accounted for 19% of the content. I mean, that's not what suppression and censorship looks like. But part of what we're seeing is the culmination of a strategy of working the refs and doing two things. You threaten them and bully them. In this case, Zuckerberg not only got threatened to be jailed, but then in November, right after Trump won the election, the guy that's going to be the new FCC chair sent a letter saying, hey, we're going to come after your Section 230 immunity protections unless you stop censoring. So one was to avoid consequences. And then the second part, which is even scarier, and this is going to be the new norm, is that you could also get something out of it. And that's what Zuckerberg saw, is that if you don't just say nice things to Trump, but you actually start to take what you have, which is his ecosystem, and use it to empower MAGA and the megaphone that we were just talking about in the first segment, you can get something out of it. And what he wants is less accountability from other countries that are actually cracking down on the types of misinformation, disinformation, extremism, sort of surveillance, advertising that the platform is doing. And they're trying to rein it in, and what he wants is protection. So he wants to basically exploit the government to protect and further enrich himself. And if he has to give up the platform, so be it. And to me, it's not just about fact-checking. The part that's scarier, that's where I'll stop, is that he said we're not only not going to fact-check, but we're also going to open up the floodgates. Yeah. What they had previously been doing was slowing down the types of content that would otherwise, that lead to misinformation. Now they're saying, hey, that's a free-for-all now. It's all going to get supercharged. So we're in for trouble.
Yeah, he's not just doing the fact-checking thing and getting away with that part. It's the fact that he's now echoing these talking points. He has now fully adapted this narrative by MAGA that there's political bias, that tech companies were somehow liberal or biased towards liberal and Democrats, and now he's gone full tilt the other way, to Angela's point that he's now really just, parroting the talking points from the far right.
Yeah, it's tech bros midlife crisis, right? He's just, and I would say, look, he's doing this because he thinks Trump is transactional and he can get a transaction from him. The thing I find the most appalling about that clip is him being furious that the government wanted to regulate him at all.
Yeah.
He's like, I did all this for you. The man is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. You'll forgive me if I do not feel sorry for him, but I do think it is. The setup here, I mean, I know this is my hobby horse, but Congress refused to regulate technology at all.
Yeah.
They were like, just please, please, please do something. Tech bros were like, why? And also mad at the implication that they should regulate themselves at all. And now they have a guy in office who's absolutely never going to let anyone have any regulation at all. And so I think it is a perfect storm. But again, the idea that these people would do this on their own, that these big companies would regulate themselves for the betterment of the public good, was always a complete fallacy.
This idea that that they were being asked to censorship, and this is something that you and I obviously track very closely. Palestinian voices on Facebook have been silenced and censored, and yet here he is pretending to be that he's going to be an advocate for free speech without saying anything at all about whether or not these voices that have been well documented by a lot of watchdog groups and activists out there is not the case.
I could not agree with you more. Does this mean now that Mark Zuckerberg is going to allow on Instagram and Facebook my friends to post images of their family who are under occupation in the West Bank, or friends, family, or people they've seen in the media being killed in Gaza? Probably not. That's not what free speech is. This idea that Donald Trump is a defender of free speech is insane.
Yeah.
This is a man who threatened CBS with their license, ABC with their license, sued Iowa paper for pointing a poll it in like a guy to remind everyone, as president, called on the FCC to investigate Saturday Night Live and cancel it. And he called publicly to cancel Saturday Night Live, which is shot in this building, for mocking him.
Yeah.
This man is a threat to any speech he doesn't like, Donald Trump. So for Zuckerberg, but isn't there a beautiful moment, Zuckerberg and Rogan falling in love? Look at your neck. It's so beautiful. Like, oh, thank you.
I wish you spoke to me like that after all.
This is amazing. I wish I got this.
That video was taken moments after this woman in the video allegedly discovered a truck full of children's corpses. So according to the story, this woman worked as a truck inspector in Mexico. And one day while she was performing her duties, a truck driver pulled in. She noticed he was acting tense and visibly nervous. And when she approached the truck, she noticed the back door was open. And when she inspected the interior of the truck, she was disturbed. She claims she saw hundreds of children's bodies, all stacked on top of each other in a massive pile. She claimed that there was blood soaked into the floor, and she even saw garbage bags lying around the sides filled with children's limbs, arms, legs, and even heads. She then stumbled to the side, started telling people what she had seen, and thus this infamous video clip was born. Now, this was first posted on Facebook back in 2019, but curiously, there's been no update on what happened here. In fact, just trying to find any information about this video or incident is nearly impossible on the internet. You can see here I tried my hardest to find info and it just wouldn't pull anything up. There have been similar incidents though where trucks have been stopped and inspected and people's bodies were found in the back. This has happened multiple times actually. I saw people online claiming that this woman was found dead just a day or two after this video went viral, but I couldn't find any official confirmation of that happening. It wouldn't surprise me though, because as you probably know, whistleblowers who try to save children usually end up dying in mysterious ways.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say it was during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who was basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
Means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected, but
that's all you gotta say to black people, man. Call somebody racist, and man, everybody running with it. And that's what happened. And I've showed y'all so many videos, man. You have to go back to my older videos where I showed you how Biden actually was the racist and dealt with the KKK guy and all that. Trump was actually giving money to black people and all this, and they don't talk about that because you're not supposed to know that, And people been coming down on Nelly because Nelly was, to do the performance of the inauguration and all this and stuff, and people been coming down on him. And Nelly did a good thing. I'm gonna have to find a piece where Nelly really went in, man, about how people got the misconception about Trump because they've been lied to and it's been a misconception or misimpression of who Trump really is. People don't know that, man, but Nelly know, man, and I was glad to see that he kind of got it figured out. Nelly really put things in perspective for some folks, man, by showing people that it really is a lot more going on and that y'all been misled about Trump. And I've been saying that. So you gotta look at the key things that's going on, man. Why is that important? Well, you're talking about an industry that's full of satanic stuff going on, evil stuff going on. You talk about administration that has looked to try to put transgenders in place prior to Trump, and they've tried to take God out of school and remove religion out of school and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? You look at that, and then you had the woke community with TikTok. That's why I show y'all this thing. Like, Trump is the one that try to make sure TikTok stay, because TikTok allowing y'all to get real information like mine. Like, they gonna ban you on all these other platforms. TikTok been allowing people to get real truth and people to connect. All right. So that's why. And people are like, oh, I can't stand show Oprah. We got TikTok. Like, these dummies. Like, people are so freaking stupid. It sickens me, man, how stupid people are. They they don't like nothing that the previous administration was doing, but they hate somebody that's changing everything in our favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at everything he's doing. He appointed Mel Gibson as like the ambassador of Hollywood and whatnot. All right, so he can weed out these pedophiles like Diddy that has walked around for so long, untouched, unscathed, doing all this crap to kids and things like that, man, and basically using the casting couch as some opportunity to be a pedophile with folks and solicit his sexual endeavors on other folks. But that stuff is being addressed. Okay, so for Trump to appoint somebody like Mel Gibson, that shows what side Trump is on. He already know what time it is with Hollywood. He know what time. That's why if he was a bad dude, he would appoint somebody like Epstein or something. Somebody like that. You see what I'm saying? But Trump ain't on that. That's why I tell y'all, it's two wings. It's not two wings of the same bird. Get that out your head and stop saying that crap. I told you this battle is on a spiritual level. It's on an intergalactic level. It's not on the surface level. And you have to look at it. Look at the Facebook situation. Mark Zuckerberg, man. I told y'all Mark Zuckerberg. I told y'all a long time ago he got replaced. I showed you the video. I might put it on here. The video I showed you, it was a droid. Like Data off of Star Trek, it's a droid. Look at the different shapes, faces and shapes of Mark Zuckerberg. You too stupid to recognize this is 2 different people, 3 different motherfuckers. You can't tell that shit looking at this. Like, I'm telling y'all, it's 2 different people, man. So understand how this stuff works. Clones and droids and real hosts and stuff like that, hosting human beings. That's the type of stuff that's going on. And you have to look at it like, we don't know which one is which, but it's 2 to 3 different ones. Then you got the time traveling piece on top of that. See, man, I'm hitting y'all from angles y'all ain't understanding. I'm trying to explain, though, so that you can start to comprehend what is really going on. You seeing surface level stuff. So, for instance, Bill Gates situation. People are like, oh, Bill Gates trying to get with Trump, Look, Mark Zuckerberg trying to mess with Trump now. Okay? So y'all see, stuff been going on prior to today. Just because you seeing stuff today don't mean this stuff wasn't going on before. Yes, it wasn't going on yesterday. Right? These battles, it's been a battle going on for a long time. The battle didn't start today, it's been going on. So stuff happening with presidents in the past and stuff, it's been happening just like it's happening today. So what's happening today? Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg been taken over by the good side. He been taken over by the good side. So now they implementing good things. So look, Facebook fact check is going out the window, prison and stuff for Facebook. And now you opening up speech for liberals and conservatives. You opening it up for everybody now. Because it's a new administration, so stuff is getting changed on the forefront for y'all to see, but it's looking like it's normal. Y'all not seeing it as, oh, somebody took this man over, or they didn't replace him with a different mentality, different consciousness, a different droid or whatnot, but people are being replaced. That's on the forefront. There's people being replaced in the background too, certain key positions. Like, make no mistake, Bill Gates is not going to be the Bill Gates that he was before. He's not going to be doing crap, right? Bill Gates is going to be replaced, just like Mark Zuckerberg, by a positive person if he remains in this realm, on this level. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're not just tinkering with people that's in the forefront, that's on the social media platforms. They're just tinkering with people that's in high positions, man. And this is on a spiritual level. This is an intergalactic battle. They got people taking folks out, man. Like, literally taking people out. Like, remember back in the day, they was talking about Tom Hanks is dead and he got knocked off? Yeah. They didn't replace Tom Hanks. You see what I'm saying? But you're not going to get that on the mainstream news media. They not going to tell you this stuff. You're going to think, oh, that's still the same Tom Hanks, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Don't make no mistake. Whoopi Goldberg. This is why a lot of these celebrities are like, oh, I'm getting the hell up out of here because I'm leaving because you in trouble. And when they get knocked off, you're not going to know. They're going to throw the replacement clone out there. Just like they've been doing for the positive people. Like Dave Chappelle got replaced in the past by negative beings. They took him over and they wanted to make him a bad person and put out, the wrong type of content. So they replaced him. Bad folks, bad actors replaced him and took his money and did all this stuff to him. This is what they do. So now when you got the positive things taken over, you're going to have the good stuff happening. You're going to have bad people being replaced. You see how that works? So it works two ways. There's 2 sides to this. So right now you got people getting taken over. So like Mark Zuckerberg, it's not the same Mark Zuckerberg that was implementing the Facebook fact check. The one that Hillary was gloating about and stuff. Oh, we can just use face check, like Google face check, fact check and all that. I'm saying face check, fact check. All this fact checking crap that they've been doing for nefarious reasons, that stuff is being switched around. So you see how Mark Zuckerberg coming from a different angle now. Okay, you see it's several different Mark Zuckerbergs. You see what I'm saying? The same thing with like, even with Trump. Okay, like I told y'all, it's several different Trumps. You got time traveling Trump, you got a clone of Trump, you got one that's being used for bad, so he can do bad things. This is the type of stuff that's going on. But you look at, like I told you, JFK, John F. Kennedy, which was one of our dearly beloved presidents, actually was on the right side of things. Ronald Reagan was too before they really got to him, man, because he tried to do some things and they was like, yo, you ain't, nah, bro, this ain't going on down like that. So John F. Kennedy, man, got assassinated, but he had threatened to expose a conspiracy theory, or theory. Notice how we talk about theories. They was theories then, but these really facts. Okay, it's conspiracy facts is really the what need to be out there instead of this fact checking bullshit lying stuff. It's the conspiracy facts that need to be out there, not these fact checking liars, bias, BS explanations for crap from these so-called alleged experts, because they not experts. My nose is red. Anyway, so John F. Kennedy threatened to expose, the secret cult, the government, the Illuminati. He said threatened to expose that. So how convenient is it that we got his nephew Robert F. Kennedy now that's supposed to be over the health department, over our health?
I'm going to let him go wild on health. I'm going to let him go wild on the food. I'm going to let him go wild on medicines.
The man Trump promised to unleash on America's healthcare is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., best known as an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist.
I am announcing today my candidate,
son of the Democratic icon Bobby Kennedy, and a man like Trump's other controversial picks who wants to dismantle the very agencies he will now be in charge of. Let's start with his unorthodox view of the coronavirus jab, which he claims was the deadliest vaccine ever made.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
There's no scientific evidence of that, nor is there evidence that childhood vaccinations cause autism, another of his claims, alongside theories that HIV does not cause AIDS, that chemicals in water are changing children's gender identity, and that government health employees have an interest in mass poisoning the American public.
This is a potential catastrophic appointment, not just for the nation from a health perspective, but also for the administration from a political perspective. He's going to get them in trouble.
The science is very clear that vaccines are safe and effective and make us healthier. So to have a platform for someone that doesn't understand or doesn't accept the science around vaccination is very concerning.
Yet this is the man who could soon be in charge of the myriad agencies that regulate all America's food and medicine. And remember, he started out as a Trump foe.
Listen, I'm not a fan of President Trump's. I'm running against him. I intend to beat him in this election.
But once out of the race, he quickly converted to Trump cheerleader and was fully on message when we caught up with him after the presidential debate in September.
Did Donald Trump win this debate in your view? How did he do?
I think he did well.
It's been just over a week since Donald Trump's thumping election victory, and in that time, his controversial and often inexperienced picks for top cabinet positions have sparked outrage in liberal America. But remember, he campaigned on a promise to tear the system down, to rip out the old establishment figures here in Washington, D.C., and replace them with MAGA loyalists who would be answerable to him alone. And 76 million people voted to give Trump the mandate to do precisely that. Even allegations which they deny of sexual misconduct against Matt Gaetz, Trump's pick to run the Justice Department, and against Pete Hegseth, the Army veteran and Fox News host chosen as Defense Secretary, haven't so far derailed their nominations. In fact, Trump is backing his appointments to the hilt.
Please welcome the President of the United States.
And last night hosted a mega MAGA gala at Mar-a-Lago to celebrate his and their ascent to power.
Well, I'm joined now by Albert Eisenberg, a Republican political strategist who writes for the political news and polling data website Real Clear Politics. I mean, is RFK Jr. what you wanted as Trump supporters, you know, as running the health service?
Well, Christian, thanks for having me. I think some of the framing of this conversation would probably make George Orwell blush as far as what's controversialized, what's called truth with a capital T, what the experienced advisors, such as the credentialed advisors of Joe Biden, got us into over the last 4 years. So the fact is Trump won an electoral college and popular vote victory. RFK is not a MAGA loyalist, as was pointed out at one point in Siobhan's reporting. He did help expand the coalition. He became a loyalist,
is the point, is what she was saying. She said he started off obviously as an opponent. He wanted
as a
to run
critic,
for president.
and like many people, including myself.
Then he became a Trump fan.
Yeah.
The point is he is anti-science.
Well, so that's my point about the Orwellian framing.
Is that what you wanted
when you say anti-science? The people that are, Christian, the people that are pro-science are the ones that caused American 4-year-olds to be masked indefinitely and delayed their social development. And now we're supposed to have COVID vaccines every quarter for these kids. That doesn't make kids healthier. I believe that most of the public, probably in Britain also, believes that the pendulum has swung a little bit too far towards the pharmaceutical companies.
That's the point. I mean, you clearly support him. I mean, so you think he's right about fluoride and vaccines and, you know, all this stuff for which there is no evidence?
No, I'm critiquing the critiques of him, and I believe that the pendulum has swung too far towards, okay, whatever the big pharma companies want, we should rubber stamp, and whatever the health hospitals want, we should put into our legislation. And I think a pendulum course correction's in order. I think that's what this election's all about. And we have checks and balances in our country, so hopefully things don't go too far.
Well, what is the point of the correction? What is it you're trying to achieve?
Well, I believe that there's been an over-medicalization of the American public, especially of children, as far as transgender kids being medicalized at a very young age, vaccine sort of on a quarterly basis. When I was growing up, it was, maybe a flu shot was optional, and you could just see it in the pharma profit. So I'm skeptical of that, and I think a course correction's in order. I don't think that means we have to go through.
You think American kids are having shots every quarter?
Yes, and I think what Britain has done on the transgender youth and pumped the brakes on what we call gender affirming care.
Let's set aside the transgender argument. That's for another day.
No, but that's a huge medicalization issue, which RFK
but it affects
has been
a tiny number of people, so I don't want to talk about that now.
It's tens of thousands of youth.
Well, in a country of hundreds of millions of people. So that's why I'm saying I don't want to go into that. I mean, the point is his policies will affect every American. If you take fluoride out of the water, that affects everybody. If you
I don't think the fluoride's coming out of the water.
I
don't think the fluoride's coming out of the water. But
you don't.
I will be curious to see what happens. We have great checks and balances in our country. And I think a course correction as far as the over-medicalization, what's going on in our food. I think that these are interesting discussions. More debate
it's
is
interesting
good.
how you're
More free
framing
speech
it.
is
I
good.
mean, you don't really agree with him either by the sound of it. The question is, is somebody who holds such sort of controversial views on science as the majority of the scientific establishment think he's a crank, what you need to have some sort of correction.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trump's going to bring in his people. I think RFK has some interesting things to say and some outlandish things to say, and I think the system will work itself out.
Do you think he'll get through the Senate hearings?
Yeah, I think so, but who knows? Do you think he will, Christian?
I have no idea, but what I mean is, will senators who think he is a crank vote him through on the basis that you've argued, that you need a course correction, therefore you need somebody who's quite extreme? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I guess I think it's interesting to see the level of outrage that's drummed up by people who don't want to lose power. And when you're interviewing somebody who says the science is clear that vaccines make us more healthy, to me, that's actually not true. 8-year-olds don't need flu vaccines. We have immune responses for that. And the science is actually clear on that. I think the trust the experts crowd that's so angry about all this is very telling to me.
Albert Eisenberg, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
See, but back then, prior to this, they had put the fluoride in the water and stuff, man. They've been doing stuff to the food, the medicine, the vaccines and stuff to mess people up, mess with your neurological system, make people conform. This is why you got so many stupid people that's jumping down Nelly throat, people that hate Trump and stuff like that. It's because they've been programmed. This is why it's important for Robert Kennedy to get in place, because folks have been programmed. They can't think, guys. They don't know. They just go off of what they spoon-fed. This is what they did to the Jews by fluoridating the water and stuff, man. They put stuff in the medicine and things so that they can get control of your mind and have you doing what they want you to do without any type of response. And this is why people are easily controllable. This is why it's so important that we get what we get right now. And somebody asked me about the Mandela stuff changing and remembering that certain people had died years ago, and that's part of the Mandela effect. That's happening, guys. Like people that died in certain ways, and certain things, songs that was written a certain way, and things like the Looney Tunes or like Oscar Mayer, different things, man, that we might remember was spelled a certain way or was sang a certain way, or people that died a certain time. That stuff is gonna seem like a glitch in the Matrix. It's basically gonna come off like a glitch in the Matrix because it happened before. We on different frequencies, different timelines, guys. We got time traveling being incorporated. We getting warps in the time continuum. It's a lot of stuff happening. Like this time frame that we on, it wasn't gonna go like this. That stuff got all switched up, man. The whole stuff, Hillary was supposed to go in office. All of this stuff was supposed to happen, and it basically did on another timeline, a different parallel. Guys, it's a movie. I might put it up on screen. It's a movie called Parallel. You need to watch it, guys. It's a real good movie, but it kind of shows you what really is going on. They put the stuff in the movies. I tell y'all that all the time. All the time I tell y'all that, man. Predictive programming. They put it in the movies. You just got to watch the movies and you'll see what kind of stuff they know about, what kind of stuff really already exists. They don't just come up with stuff like I tell you about the Draculas in the movies. We got real Draculas here. They just not called Draculas. They called Dracos. These one guys on the news. They real. Like, they really do that. They really about that life. Y'all don't know that stuff, man, because y'all not supposed to. But as long as you in the dark, like all this stuff I'm talking about, it's going to go right over your head. Right over your head. You're not going to feel what I'm talking about. It's not going to make sense to you. And I don't expect it to for somebody that doesn't know the basic, simplest things about what we capable of on this realm. And where we go after this realm. All that stuff, man. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to take in. But I wanted to point that out, though. You know, it's a bigger war going on, and y'all getting a glimpse of it, man. It's some other folks that's being replaced in the background, but you gotta love everything that Trump doing right now. You gotta love it, man. I mean, the people that he's appointing into position, man, like he's appointing all folks that's got our best interest, all our best interest. And y'all don't know about some of the stuff that's going on. Some people didn't even know it was a depopulation plan in place. So how can you be mad if he replacing people that had that in place? You see what I'm saying? The fake news media, they've been attacking him forever. And he been going at them like, oh, we're gonna replace them. But you understand that they also was bad because they the Dracos. You don't know that, so how can you get on this side if you don't even know what's going on and you've been programmed to believe that they good? And you think that they good. You don't even know that they not even regular people. You don't even know it. But you up here fighting and defending these folks. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I like miss me with the stuff, man. All this stuff about talking bad about Trump. I tell you, Trump ain't even a regular person. Whether you want to take it from him being a Andromedan, a Palladian, or a time traveler, or either way, he's still part of the resistance. Okay? Whether you know it or not. And that's why they hate him. That's why they've been trying to destroy him. And the fact that things is moving in the direction they are shows me that he's got a position, he's putting other people in position, and we got a whole different shot at turning this whole thing around, man. And that's what we aiming to do. Anyway, guys, it's cold as hell, man. I'm not going to stay out here much longer. I just wanted to point that out and wake up the inauguration and everything, man. I hope everybody's doing well, man. I did put a couple videos out recently, so make sure y'all check that out. I'm going to try to do some more on routine now and this coming weekend, man, just to keep everybody abreast. But things is looking up, man. It's really looking up. I hope that it continues to go that way. And give him a chance, man, until he do some stuff that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, even they really deporting these illegal immigrants. They really getting them, man. They out here getting these folks, right? So, and that's the other thing I want to point out to him about the kids and stuff, and how they did these rituals and this human sex trafficking and all this stuff, man. You got these bodies and stuff that this person found in this dang truck or whatever. I don't know what all that was about, but it takes you back to, you know, the whole idea about what they've been doing, you know, and using these different companies for nefarious activities, like Wayfair back in, you know, a couple of years ago. I don't know if y'all knew about Wayfair, but that was a real thing. All right, and it was something about possibly Coca-Cola having some involvement. I don't know how true that is, so I'm not getting into that. But it was something about Coca-Cola potentially having something going on as well. I don't know if that's true or not, man. But either way, man, I hope everybody's well. I will catch you on the next video.
There are pockets of resistance all around the planet. We've been fighting a long time.